Excellency Vincent Karega. He's the High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. As most politicians, I don't have a PowerPoint, and I won't be long. I've been requested to be here and to kind of speak about cooperation between Rwanda, my country, and South Africa, but I understood it in the context of South-South cooperation, meaning how does it work, what are the challenges, and what shall be done. Quickly, Rwanda and South Africa has worked and continue to work together in a productive manner, but I believe we can do more. Africa, as you all know, is a continent of so many challenges and so badly portrayed and identified with disease, corruption, poverty, wars, instability, and so on. But on the other hand, Africa is definitely the only continent with as much as natural resources, as much as cultural richness, as much as strong, young, youthful population. So how do we turn our challenges into opportunities? There are so many things to do, and we have so many things we complain about. We complain about colonialism, apartheid. We complain about neo-colonialism and balanced trade, unemployment, and definitely corruption, bad governance, bad politics, and so on. So as an example of what definitely Africa can do to itself, and taking Rwanda and South Africa cooperation as a case study, first of all, I would like to say that my country has benefited a lot from cooperating with South Africa. As you all know, in '94, we were almost collapsing due to the failure of governance that led to genocide in my country. But today we are also proud that we have recovered and we are busy transforming, embracing technology, facilitating investment, and also boosting our infrastructure, our skills, and our ways of doing business. So with South Africa, we had a lot of cooperation in capacity building, institutional development, even in attracting investment in different areas, such as telecommunication, industry, tourism, services, and so on. Besides political cooperation in the area of constitutional making, electoral commission building, unity and reconciliation institutions exchanging, universities, and so on collaborating. So what I want to say in terms of transforming our continent is that we can do much. And all we can do is related to what has been said here: leadership and governance. Every country in the continent today has got a document that they can present. They call it a vision. But as you go a layer down below the top leaders, not very many people know the vision, do understand the vision, and own the vision. Then we all have ministries, we all have provincial department, we have facilitation for business, but do they work effectively? I think what matters is to have a clear vision that is also owned at all the levels of society: the communities, the companies, the private sector, and the government institutions themselves. So a country should walk the talk. A country cannot say, in 2050, we will be this. A president says that, the ministers say that, but the governors are not saying the same. And at the same time, you want economic transformation, but when it comes to making it easier for business to register, there are problems. Making it easier by availing the right infrastructure is a problem. Bureaucracy, red tapes, and so on are the things that impede in the right cooperation between those in the private sector and those serving a nation as public institutions. So I think in our countries in Africa, a lot is happening. That's why people are saying Africa is rising. But a lot remains to be done. And this has to come with changing the culture of government, the culture of people, mindset change. Then being a strong country in a big sea of bad neighborhood does not help. So we are better off as a strong Africa than a strong Rwanda or a strong South Africa or a strong Nigeria. So we are better off being strong together, and we can work together to become strong. We say that most petrol is produced in Africa today, but how many African multinationals in petroleum? We will see Total, Shell, GP. Are they Africans? Do they have wells of petrol? No. Why do they control our petrol? When will we have a Pan-African petroleum company that is controlling African petrol? Then we say Cote d'Ivoire has got cocoa. Ghana has got cocoa. But do you know about Cote d'Ivoire's chocolate? Compared to Switzerland chocolate, does Switzerland produce chocolate? When will the cocoa of Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire will end into chocolate of Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire? It doesn't mean we should not work with Europe. If the knowledge of making chocolate is in Europe, how can we and the Europeans share, build companies in a win-win fashion and then get full benefit of our product? That can only happen if we fight corruption, if we fill skills gap, if the vision that are in document in sophisticated manner are put in simple language that the people understand, that we build the culture of patriotism, discipline, and commitment to our values as countries, as sub-region in the continent, and as a continent. Once we don't know who we are, once we don't believe in how important the neighbor is, and once we don't learn on how to work together and how to minimize the complaint and move toward action, then we will continue to have problems and continue to complain while sitting on petrol, on platinum, on diamond, on water reservoirs, on potential for energy, on different cultures that can even be for export. But without organization, structures, discipline, opening up, we can't do much. I spoke of good cooperation between South Africa and Rwanda, but I also say we could do more if there was a railway, for example, from Cape Town to Cairo, passing near Kigali, my capital. Then the cost of bringing things from South Africa to my country and vice versa will be cheaper. But today it is very cheaper to import from China through the sea than to import from Ghana or Nigeria or South Africa into another African country, because our infrastructure are a problem. And where the infrastructure are good, the customs procedures are still a problem. The level of bribe, security and safety, justice. Let's say I invest in Zambia and I'm Rwandan, and I have an issue with government. Can I be confident that if I go to court and I'm right, I will get fair justice? Rule of law is also another area to look in. And believing into bigger nations than racial nations, tribal nations. You hear democracy in Africa, but in most cases when you look at the political parties, it's not very much about the ideology of transforming the country. It's very much about the ethnic. It's about the race. Is it the values we are defending, or we should also join the global values of winning jobs, making money, discovering new things to serve or to improve on our lives. So we have a lot of problems, for sure, we cannot deny that. We have a lot of potentials. We have some capacity to translate the potential into concrete products and benefits to our society, but it requires a lot of leadership from top, from bottom, from the middle. It requires a strong cooperation between government, private sector, civil society, and the people at large. Countries must redefine their identity and what they will be recognized on, characters. Today, if we say, when they tell you Germany, what do you think? You think of Benz, BMW, strong, solid cars. So it kinds of define their character. If they ask you about Japan, you think of Sony, Toyota, and so on. They can produce things that go to the world. It kind of becomes their character. If we talk of Italians, we think of nice shoes, nice handbags, finished good things, good constructions, good design, good kind of things. When you think of Paris, you think of good eating, romance, Airbus, those kind of things. When will that happen to us, that when you think of Rwanda, maybe you think of completely refined coffee, zero tolerance for corruption, those kind of things. So we need to build those characters that will define us, and we need to extend hands and partnerships because that's what will make us grow. Thank you very much. I think I've said it.
Thank you very much. So it's a pleasure to have you speak to us today.
Any questions for His Excellency? Any questions?
Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un qui a une question pour Son Excellence, Monsieur l'Ambassadeur du Rwanda? English. We need 2 questions in English, 2 questions en français.
Malcolm Evers from New York Business Consultants. First, thank you so much for this most inspiring and encouraging speech of yours, which was critical, but it also encouraged us that entrepreneurship is the way to go and that African empowerment is the way to go, that the solutions and the opportunities are here. So we look at all the studies from the World Bank to the UN. Rwanda already shines as an example in Africa to encourage entrepreneurship. And as a nation that has come after so much trouble and so much conflict, a renewed hope. I wonder, what can some of the other African nations learn from the Rwandan example of entrepreneurship? What can South Africa and others learn? How do you build those incubators? How do you get this message into the schools? How do you make this a top-down and bottom-up approach to support entrepreneurs? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the positive comment. You'll be surprised that we are a young country, of course, after a crisis. And that gives us the courage to tell others who did not see the similar crisis, who may even have more resources than us, to tell them that they can do more. And also, we did not reinvent any wheel. We have just realized our country was going to hell. And then as leadership, we sat and said, shall we continue to go to hell, or shall we change our way of doing? And we don't need to invent everything, because in the world, we can tap into other experiences. So part of our collaboration with South Africa, because South Africa also was born kind of as a democracy in '94, we had a lot of exchanges, and we benefited of a lot of capacity building of our people in different universities in South Africa. Institutions of our constitution making, as I said, exchanged. Those on unity and reconciliation had a lot of exchange, public service reforms and so on, with the Batopele Charter here and the Imihigo in Rwanda. So we kind of looked around, even beyond Africa, in countries like Asian tigers, European countries, Australia, and so on. And then we came up with a model that tallies with our reality, our context of ethnic conflict in the past, our context of non-solid governance of the past, and we came up with things and principles that are cultural based and also global. So we think globally, but we act locally. And then we have instilled discipline into what we do, so that what is in the vision should be seen into actions. Every single institution has got a performance contract with timeline, and there are serious consequences when things are not happening the way they were planned for. And zero tolerance for corruption, because we know in most places good ideas exist, but corruption delay things. We also know that in some countries, people in government think they are the government and they are the business. Then they don't help business to flourish or to grow until the business is guaranteed 10 or 15%. So we believe that we cannot have jobs as a government if we don't encourage both domestic and foreign private companies to work in our country. So we have created the environment, and we are rated by the World Bank number 2 in Africa after Mauritius in ease of doing business. Then we knew people fear going in Africa, because if they have a problem in court, then definitely the state will win or the local will win, so foreigners will fear. So we have created a court just for business with a timeline, and judges are recruited internationally. So business issues do not go to the normal judiciary courts. It goes straight to the business court. So there are no delays, and there is no fear or favor into those courts. So we are trying things, and we continue to learn from South Africa, Uganda, Kenya, whatever is good in the neighborhood, in the continent, we pick. And if the owners do not implement, we try to implement. That's probably what is making a difference. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Vincent Karega, my name is Don Noye and I'm from Sakono. My question is there any platform or platforms that are addressing the internecine wars amongst African countries, politically or financially, to overcome these challenges? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think most of the wars are being addressed, not definitely the way we would wish to see them addressed, through sub-regional groupings. You will agree with me that most conflicts in the continent, African countries have been sending peacekeeping missions and so on. But in most cases, wars in Africa, when you go deep in the roots, are not fully Africans. Even the guns used are not fully Africans. So while we are dealing with African issues, there are also some international issues, but our terrain becomes fragile and weak because we are weak and disorganized and then sometimes corrupt. I strongly believe that the reform of the African Union and the African Union plan of 2063, in which more should be done in terms of our market, in terms of our policies on our natural resources, in terms of having our own permanent peacekeepings of interventions, and in terms of financing our own AU, that will make it much more effective than probably what it was when funded from outside, when probably dictated by the funder what to do, and when countries were abandoned to themselves, when they could not govern themselves, or they were affected by internal conflict. So now we are building the muscle, the competencies, the capabilities as a continent to intervening where it doesn't work, and also to sell to each other best practices in different ways, either governance, business, or ways of doing things. Thank you.
I will translate what the Excellency was talking about in French. Pour ceux qui parlent français et qui ne comprennent pas anglais, l'honorable l'ambassadeur du Rwanda disait tout juste sur ils ont des réformes selon l'Union africaine en matière de paix et de financement dans certains pays africains, bien sûr. Sorry. I will come again. Je vais encore reprendre, m'excuser. Pour ce qui concerne la réforme de l'Union africaine dans le domaine de paix et de financement, nous sommes en train de bâtir un mécanisme pour pallier à toutes ces issues, à tous ces problèmes dont l'Afrique précisément rencontre. Voilà ce que je peux dire en peu de mots.
Merci. Thank you. I'm done. No French today. Questions in Zulu? Thank you. My name is Vincent Karega, High Commissioner of Rwanda to South Africa. I'm glad to be part of this Tropics Summit. It is always important to see African people from the public sector and those from private sector thinking about how to move the continent to the next level. As you know, our continent has got so many challenges, at the same time so many opportunities. So our main goal is to see how we can fast track the turning of the challenges into opportunities, especially in developing mechanisms between countries and sub-regions on how to work together, integrate our economies, integrate our know-how, and also work together to eradicate serious problems such as security, stability, poverty, disease in some places. There is a big amount of knowledge, different cultures in the room, and all aiming at better Africa. So it's a good platform. Let's see how it evolves during the day, and it's a good initiative. Thank you.